Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. How you doing? Happy Thursday to you. The sun is out. The weather is beautiful, and I'm playing some pickleball tonight, so I'm fired up about it. That's the new thing. I can't help it. What can I tell you? I'm bowling, pickleball, golf. I'm trying to be active. I'm trying. You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. I really got to lose some weight. It's paramount that I do this. The problem is I like to eat late at night, right? And I really don't like to do much. Right. I guess, put it this way, walking or running on a treadmill, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'll walk around the block, do this and that, but I'm trying. I'm trying to fill up my schedule with things to do. And I will tell you that, it takes a toll. I'm 50 now, and things change, right? I mean, sometimes just sleeping at night. I wake up. I haven't even done anything. I just went to bed. I wake up. I'm like, oh my, what's going on? But there is something, and I will tell you, our CBD store at 1360khnc.com is open. We opened it yesterday. We're getting products approved as we go. Right now, there's 3 items on there. By tomorrow, I think there's going to be 5 items on there. We're going to have about 10 or 12 of them, but we got the 2 ones that I use are on there. You see how we did it? The ones I use. The 1,000 milligram tincture, especially for us older folks, if you will. If you're like me, playing around the golf, right? Everything hurts. Right, bowling, for whatever reason, my left leg, my plant leg, I guess, if you will, I always got this hip thing going on, and so I started taking the CBD company, My Kind. They're working with the radio station in Colorado, with us in the radio station. It is wonderful. So I don't want to make outrageous health claims, but I'm a bigger guy, so I take a dropper and a third. I take for most people, just a dropper is perfect, and especially I make sure I always take it the day, the night before the next day, where I know if I'm going to go golfing or if I'm going to bowl or play pickleball, and then the night before and then the night of, and it's helped me tremendously. But here's the thing, and I want to point this out to all of my listeners out there. This stuff is 100% made here in the U.S. All of it in Colorado. The hemp itself is grown in Colorado. The manufacturing is done in Colorado. The testing, the labs, everything we do, everything My Kind does is independently lab certified. They use no chemicals, right? This is 100%. This is just how they are. The hemp grown is all organic. Everything that you'll see on the website, if you go to 1360khnc.com and hit the shop button, and I think we're going to add we'll add that CBD button to the Patriot site. We're just not there yet. But it's the best of the best. But like we do with Patriot and Gold, we sell it for less. The price you pay for the quality we're giving, you don't get it anywhere else. 1,000 milligram tincture, as an example, it's $49.95. Let's go $50. This is everywhere you look, and we've done tons of research on this. This is a $100 item. At a CBD store, it's probably $130. We're at $50. Everyone that's at our price point, they don't have COAs. They're not independently lab certified. It's not organic. You don't know where made. Most likely came out of China. So give it a shot if you're into the CBD. The other one I use, the salve, and I use that one. I've had some surgeries. My left knee is a mess. Had surgery on my elbow. Those areas tend to get really sore. I use the salve on that. It's great. Both of those items are on the cart. And then also the pet tincture is that's a 350 milligram one because, pets are a little smaller than humans. But check it out. And we're going to be adding coffee and lotion here in the next couple of days. Hopefully in the next week or two. My favorite one is the cocoa. We can't sell that to you yet because I want to do it the right way. But get out there, check it out. And it's a great way to support the radio station. That's really where the profits for that will go. The 1360khnc.com and our new CBD launch now. And this is the nice part. It's going to stay up now forever. We got it done, got it handled. What a product. You talk about jumping through hoops. It's I don't know how many trees got killed in the approving of this, but it was a lot. It was Brooke just walked by. She got to say you can almost commit suicide off all the stuff they made us sign for, but we finally got her done. Anyway, there's my big push. I'm just all fired up about pickleball because we actually haven't played for a few weeks. We had a blown tendon on one guy, and then we had several of my friends. They got COVID and were out for several weeks. So now they're on the mend. So hopefully, I'm going to make it an effort. I'm going to lose maybe like 40 or 50 pounds. I'll keep you updated. I've just committed to this. I've got shakes, meal replacement shakes in the refrigerator here at work. Right? Oh, so delicious. Yes. And apple chips. Yeah. That's what I'm having for lunch today. If I get a little cranky with you, you all will know why. Patriot Radio News Hour. Listen, when we get back, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. 800-951-0592. Metals plans will be done today. We actually would have had them done the other day, but the gold, I don't know, didn't make it here. But it'll be, those will be all out today. There's only, I don't know, I think six or seven that are left. Those will be all done. Just as a reminder, Silver Eagles. I'm going to tell you a month. I hope it's less, but I'm going to tell you a month. Premiums rose today, but not a lot. Thankfully, we're not back to $10 over spot. But it's going to be a month. Junk silver. We started running those yesterday. Remember yesterday? I'm just going to tell you. You either buy it or you don't, right? And don't be surprised if you call them there isn't any, right? It'll pass, but remember this summer how long we went? I don't think we'll go that long. Right? I don't. Having said that, any amount of craziness between now and inauguration, and there's so many people that said, Joe, it's going to happen. Right? It's going to happen. If it does, then it's going to be unobtainium, right? We understand that. Let's hope it doesn't. And if it does, let's hope it ends quickly. But again, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's too hard to tell. And so many people are convinced that something's up. You see 20,000 National Guard out at the Capitol. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, man, if they would have just took reasonable measures a week ago or however long ago it was, none of this would have happened. But, here we are, right? So you tell me, calamity of errors, orchestrated event, who knows? But I do have access to some junk silver. But here's, unless I can convince the guy otherwise. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, I got a friend that's like Binions. He's a hoarder of all things junk silver. And I'm not talking about he's got a couple bags or 5, 10 bags, 20 bags, 50 bags, 100 bags. Hundreds of bags. And we became friends. I got in, a wholesaler of mine put me in touch with him, and we've become friends. That's maybe stretching the truth a little bit, right? We're business associates, for lack of a better term. He provided some junk silver to me during the height of COVID. Yesterday, he offered me 5 bags of quarters and 5 bags of dimes. I've got 2 bags of dimes left, 1 bag of quarters. That's it. And then I don't know after that, right? And we may be in this situation where we'll have to wait. I'll keep you. Something could change tomorrow, but right now, Silver Eagles, I'm telling you, a month. They're still letting me book them, but I'm going to tell you a month, and I hope it's only 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm going to say a month. On the junk silver side, if we sell the rest of these bags, I don't know when I'll have it. I hope it's not a month, but I don't know. So right now, rolls of silver quarters, $2.15 a roll, which puts that bag at, I'll get it here, 21,500. Or rolls of the silver dimes at $107.50. And oh, by the way, silver's up today, up another 15 cents, 25.73 on the March contract. And gold, depending on where you look, Kiko's got gold up $4 or $5. I'll tell you right now that I got gold down $4. It doesn't matter. Gold's at $18.50. We're waiting on Joe Biden's stimulus. Where's he been, by the way? Right? Where's the great unifier? Yeah, please. Come on, man, if you believe that. Jobless claims came out today. Every Thursday, this was the largest number since they changed how they calculated the number. Remember, it was back in August, right? They said, oh, wait, because remember, every month, million. And then they changed the way they calculated it. 965,000 people filed for unemployment for the very first time. Now, that's not a surprise. Remember, I told you this was going to happen? On TV, you should have, oh, my God, that's way more. What happened? Remember these 2 holidays, Christmas and New Year's. Remember those? The offices were closed 1 day a week, some 2 days. Catch up. Remember last week I told you about Illinois had some whacked out number. It came back. But, it was, let's face it, 965,000. That's a lot. Wall Street, I don't know who these Wall Street people are. They're expecting 800,000. Do they not own a calendar? But again, they were jumping up and down when the numbers were a little lower. And, of course, I told you, don't worry, it's all bouncing back. I don't know. And, again, it's amazing to think about this. And I got to remind myself, the all-time previous record for a jobless claims in a week was back in the early 80s. And again, I think that was largely around a strike at the auto workers. And it was only like 600,000. And it only lasted like a week. We have gone 10 months in a row now. In a row with numbers, I don't know that we've gotten below 700,000 for 10 straight months in a row. And again, you sit there and you think about, wait a minute, what? Stock market's near all-time highs, right? Even the bond yield's at 1.1%. That's it. Right, but it just tells you the magnitude of the spending. Government debt came out for December, another 140-some billion. None of that with stimulus. Stimulus, remember, the president delayed it, didn't sign it till, was it right before Christmas, right after? Either way, that $900 billion stimulus, that's going to fall into January's budget deficit number. But without that, the first quarter of 2021, remember, because that's the fiscal year for the federal government, starts October 1st. Deficit's way up. And that makes sense, right? Because we weren't dealing with COVID until March of last year. But the budget deficit for the first 3 months of the year, off the charts. Off the charts. We're probably right now, if that number held out, right, it'd be about $2 trillion in debt, a little more, 2.3. But remember, the $900 billion stimulus isn't in that number. We're waiting. Sometime today, Joe Biden's supposed to come out and talk about his stimulus. So this is what we're waiting for. I'm hearing rumors. Remember yesterday, I started giving you what they wanted to do, and I'm like, I don't see, where's the value here? Maybe some infrastructure spending. Everything else is just give away money. Another round of checks. And by the way, the way I'm understanding it, they're talking about $1,400. So they're going to take the 6 you're supposed to be getting, which a lot of people haven't even gotten yet. Notice that? And adding another $1,400. So it's not going to be an additional $2,000. It looks like an additional $1,400. Now we're hearing that they're going to forgive, and I don't know, this isn't official, but there's people saying that, hey, I've seen the bill, $10,000 of forgiveness of student loan debt. So again, I mean, how big is this stimulus bill going to get? Remember, they want to bail out the states. So we got 900, let's call it $1 trillion. That's going to hit for January. Then Joe Biden's going to talk about this stimulus. I'm guessing $2 to $3 trillion for that. So we probably could be, not probably, we're going to be staring at a budget deficit for 2021 that's, I don't even know. They'll probably say big number, or I'm sorry, little number, the one they want to tell you about. Like, remember last year they said 3.1 trillion. Of course, I told you it was like almost 4.5. Close to 5, maybe 5 trillion. Who's going to pay for all that? Right? Who's going to do it? I don't know the answer to that. Right. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all these Fed governors talking, a bunch of them, obviously because the bond market started going the wrong way. Right. So all of a sudden they're all talking about, no, we're going to keep buying. We're not changing anything. I don't know if that's good enough. I don't know how they can't increase it. Right. They're buying $120 billion a month. But now we're talking about, hey, I don't know, in the course of, let's just say 4 or 5 months, in addition to the, because right now about every quarter, give or take, the government's going anywhere from, say, $400 to $700 billion in debt every quarter, okay? And the smaller number, I'm assuming tax time will have a little smaller number, but that's every quarter. That's without any stimulus. Now we're talking about adding another $3 to $4 trillion on top of that. Who's buying it all? Right? And this is the thing when you talk about, okay, what's happening? We're kind of, I feel like we're kind of in the vortex of this, and we're seeing these bubbles blow up everywhere, and kind of like they say I've never been in a hurricane, don't ever want to be in a hurricane, right? Have no desire, right? I don't even like a really bad windstorm, right? I want no part of it. But they say in the eye of the hurricane, it's dead calm. And I feel like that's kind of where we are right now. Right? We got this hurricane happening. And I'm not just talking about social unrest. Right? And I'm not talking just about, debt and bailouts and forgiveness. I saw somewhere, just like New York City alone, there's $1 billion in unpaid rents. And, you just start adding up billions and billions of dollars and all of these things. Jobless claims, we've gone 10 months in a row where we've broken the previous record week after week after week after week. And my guess is I don't see any end to it, at least not right now. You know, the vaccine, maybe, I don't know. I don't know about everybody else. So I talked to my mom about the vaccine. You know, my mom is 77. So outside, now she's in New York. This is how messed up it is. Frontline workers are first. My mom was next up, right? You know, anybody over the age of 75 is how New York did. You guys were first. My mother has been unable to schedule an appointment because they're booked. The drugstore that was Kinney Drugs, it's up in the upstate New York chain. They told all of their seniors, we're booked for the next year. Yeah, forget it. Don't even try to get a vaccine shot here. So I don't know. You know, I think it's going to be late into 2021 before that really kicks in. So again, this eye of the hurricane, eventually it's going to move over, right? And we're going to be out of the eye. 800-951-0592. Just as soon as I said it, now they're saying that 10,000 student loan, that's not enough. Which it's not, right? I mean, I don't know the answer. You know, student loan debt, I don't think most people realize. Mortgage debt for consumers, okay, for you and I. Mortgage debt's still number one. And here's the funny thing, is less and less people have mortgage debt. Not because they've paid off their debt, because they can never afford a house to begin with, right? So home ownership rates in the United States has been declining ever since the housing bubble. And by a lot. I mean, we're talking, you know, we're getting ready to fall below 60%. The next highest level of debt, and for me, I'd be like, oh, well, it's got to be like automobiles, right? That would have been my guess, right? No. Student loan debt. It's actually getting ready to surpass $2 trillion. Then automobiles, then credit cards. That's kind of the big four of the consumer debt. And now Joe Biden, you know, we know, right? What did they run on? Well, we're just giveaway stuff, right? Checks, loan forgiveness, right? I mean, you know, once you start down that path, how do you go back? Right? You know, and you train people. We train people for poverty. I mean, and I hate to be harsh, but that's what we've done. Look at all of these poverty programs. Even count Social Security in that. Right? Because how many people now, that's all they got. We train them for poverty. Food stamps. Food stamps was actually a Lyndon Johnson program. By the way, Lyndon Johnson was one of the, you know, biggest debtors, if you will, that didn't have to do with war. He kind of started the debt thing, and then we closed the gold window, and now we're just full-blown debt. 2 million people were on it. And the thought was, we're going to give you a helping hand. It makes great sense, right? Sure. It's kind of like everybody gets a trophy. God, it sounds great. You know, it's not fair that the team with the better players finished first and they got to celebrate. And my kid, you know, he wasn't as good. Well, he should get a trophy too. And you know what? Everybody gets a trophy. Right? It makes, that way it doesn't hurt their self-esteem. Well, it sounds good. But what do we end up with? We end up with what? Entitlement. What do you mean I don't get a trophy? Huh? What? What are you talking about? Of course the government owes me something. Right? I'm here. Right? I showed up. My parents had me. I my eyes open every morning, so I'm entitled. And so food stamps started out that way. Hey, we're going to help you out, and then you get on your feet and you can get off. Right? It's just a safety net. It sounded great. But you know what ended up happening? Nobody gets off. I shouldn't say no. I mean, a little bit here and there, but the vast majority, once you're on it, you stay on it. So think about, we had, 220 million people back then, and 2 billion people were on it. You got 320 million people now. So you're like, okay, well, we went up, we've increased the population. Let's just keep it easy. We increased it 50%. Went from 200 million to 300 million. So if we had 2 million people on it, probably we should have 3 million now, right? That would be a program that worked. Well, we don't have 3 million people on it. Heck, we don't have 30 million people on it. We have somewhere between 50 to 60 million people on it. Here's all I know about food, because their data's so far behind. But I know last year the year before, not 2019, the government spent a little over $80 billion on food stamps. Okay. And then that year we had, and I'm going to round down a little bit, we had about 40 million people on it. Now they're saying 2020, they spent $120 billion on food stamps. So I'm like, okay, well, doing my public school math, that kind of equates. So now we got 60 million people on food stamps. Right? Student loans. Didn't used to be such a credit card debt. There was no credit card debt in the 70s. Credit cards didn't exist. Right now, look at us. We got over $1 trillion of credit card debt. Student loans. There was no student loans. Student loans really didn't become a thing till probably about my generation. But it really became a big thing for the generation after me, right? I guess that would be the millennials. Now it's just like, oh yeah, student loans, student loans, student loans. Right? We've got to be more educated. We didn't want those jobs. We got to be more educated. We don't want those jobs. You got to be more educated. We don't want to assemble cars. We don't want the assembly line job. We don't want to make socks. We don't want to make clothing. We don't want to make electrical components. We don't want that stuff. Everybody go to college, and all of us can be the CEO of Apple. Whoops. Only one person can be the CEO of Apple. The rest of us ended up in jobs you didn't need a college degree for. What's so funny? How many jobs now were there that never needed a college degree? Now you do. Right? They just, you gotta be a salesman. Well, you don't need a college degree to be a salesman. And all these, we want a college degree. Now we got people with almost $2 trillion worth of student loan debt, and now guess what? They need a handout. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. And as we await the stimulus announcement from the Biden administration. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. And we just start looking at the layoffs and food stamps and Social Security. I dread seeing what all these layoffs have done to the Social Security number. But I've been telling you, even before COVID, I was telling you 2025, 2026. Now I'm like it's 2025. Not that there's a trust fund anyway, but we've got this perfect storm of events that are happening whether we like it or not. Can the Biden administration stem some of the state defaults? Probably. Right, I'm imagining they're going to give somewhere close to $2 trillion to some of these states, but that just holds it over. Social Security, there's no fix there, so it's hard to imagine. But going back to, remember, we don't want those jobs when we went off the dollar. The last time our country ran a trade surplus, 1973. Went off the gold standard in 1971. We've never, now think about this, 48 years in a row without a trade surplus, not one. And what does trade surplus mean? That means more money is coming into your country than is going out of your country. Simple. And you know, I always say, follow the money. Where's it all going? See, when you go back and you look at the United States in the 1800s and most of the early 1900s, all the money was coming here. We ran massive trade surpluses. We supplied the world with stuff. Then when you let the bankers get in charge and they created inflation. Inflation made it too expensive. American workers, you need too much money. I mean, you had to give you health care. We had OSHA, right? Everybody wanted, $20 an hour and blah, blah. You're way too expensive. To give you some perspective on how big this is, China, right? That's where the money's going. Just last month alone, a single month, they ran a $78 billion trade surplus. Now, obviously, they're not doing that every month, but it's close. I mean, you're talking about they're approaching $1 trillion of trade surplus a year. That means other countries are taking money out of their economies and giving it to the Chinese. And we know we're the majority of this number. Right? We're the majority of this number. We're probably 2/3 of this number. Right? There's a huge sucking sound of wealth leaving the United States and going to China. And going to a digital currency doesn't fix this problem. You know what fixes this problem? Poverty. Poverty fixes it. We'll start over. We're going to bankrupt most Americans. And then you'll just be grateful to do any job, right? You'll get your warehouse job at Amazon. Maybe you'll get carts at Walmart, or maybe, who knows, maybe you could be the greeter, right? Or work behind the deli and slice the bologna. And we'll give you a little government, subsidy, right? Because let's say I'm talking 6 million people on food stamps. The vast majority of people on food stamps work. Just can't make enough money. And this is what we're going to be. This is it. This is what's happening. And this is why you're going to see, and we've been seeing, right? Gold and silver are warning you. They're warning you about all the debts and deficits. And there's a price to be paid. The only reason we've gotten away with it for as long as we have is we were the reserve currency of the world. But as I've been educating you, the percentage of dollars being held globally keeps falling. It's been gradual, about 1% a year, every year. But you know, right, there's going to be a suddenly. There's going to be a suddenly moment. We don't know when. That's the thing. We don't know when. We're still in the eye of the hurricane, right? It's all swirling around us, and it's slowly moving, and eventually it's going to be on top of us. And there's going to be a 10, 15, 20% fall in the use of the dollar. And that's when everything, chaos ensues, and stock market crashes, bond market crashes, people out of work, and then digital currency. It's all orchestrated. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. There's no conspiracy behind it. That's just how it is. And either you prepare or you don't. 800-951-0592. Final segment here today. Like I said, we're still waiting on how much money Joe Biden wants to spend on the next round of stimulus. But when we get back, I'll go over what we got for silver, and then I got a gold special. We'll go over that as well. Eight 800-951-0592. I anticipate this to be very good news whenever the Biden administration comes out with, 2-3 trillion more. That's going to be, again, we're going to be in this environment here for a little while longer, where everything goes up. Gold's going up, silver's going up, stock market's going up, Bitcoin's going up, housing prices going up. The big test is going to be later in the year as we start to kind of reap what we sow here, and get over. Let's just say the vaccine takes hold and all of a sudden the bailouts stop, the checks stop, the moratoriums come to an end. And then, of course, the Biden administration, we know tax increases are coming. It's going to be really, 2022 is going to be a very, very interesting year. But having said that, we'll talk more about that tomorrow when it comes out, because it hasn't come out yet. We're just speculating here. Someone threw out $10,000 worth of student loan forgiveness, and everybody's already might as well give them nothing if that's all you're going to give them. It's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. Right now, here's what's available quickly. In other words, I can have all of this stuff here the middle of next week. I've got silver dimes and quarters. And I guess here's the problem. I've got about 300 rolls of dimes left at $107.50 a roll. On the quarters, I don't even have 100 rolls of quarters left at $215. I do have a good gold special today. I've got, I had 45 now because we just sold some. People calling ahead. I love that. 45 $20 Liberty gold pieces at $2,095. So that's remember the premiums have gone way up here. So that's kind of taking off some of that premium, getting us back below 2,100 at least for today. I've got 45 of them available at $2,095 at 800-951-0592. And all of those I can have here next week. Today, we got gold hitting both Colorado and Phoenix. This gold is late. They should have been here several days ago. We'll be here today. All of you would like the 20D Liberties, the Type 2 Liberties. All of those are going to be going out today. There's a couple of of smaller silver orders that will go out in the shipments today. But we will be all caught up with anything older than the last 3 or 4 days by the end of day today, and the metals plans will all be done as well. So if you're waiting for product, be patient. It's on the way. If you're waiting for a phone call, be patient. It's on the way. And then after that, right, then, you know, silver, especially Silver Eagles, you're going to have to be waiting. 800-951-0592. Before we head out here, the Dow's up 100 points. And I think it could be up even more depending on what they see out of Biden. Gold, depending on where you look, up, down, either way. Gold's right, hanging around 1850. Silver's up today, 25.70 right now. The dollar is down today, which makes sense because of, you know, more stimulus, if you will. Patriot Radio News Hour. Be prepared. And God bless everybody. We'll be back for one final show of the week tomorrow.